To those of you who do not know what I do, I'm a contemporary artist and I'm also a coach and a therapist. So I thought maybe I should speak about the science of luck. That's what the topic of today is. So let me begin by asking you this question, and it's open to all of you. And don't feel embarrassed because this is a closed room conversation. Nobody knows you personally, so nobody's going to take this out somewhere. How many amongst you feel or think they're lucky? Wow, way too many. Yeah, I got that. I respect that. I was about to ask that how many amongst you do feel that you have to struggle a lot to get the right opportunity coming your way? Is there anybody who actually thinks they're lucky, but still that's true? Yeah. Do you see, it's like hesitant hands. I see a lot of confident hands. I also see a lot of hesitant hands because we all feel this way that opportunities do not land in our pockets so easily, and there are so many people out there who get these things like that with a click of a button.
Generally lose out on the fourth round of interview.
Why fourth only? We should get a number checked. Fourth.
Yeah, too much money probably.
Rahu is sitting in his fourth house, I think, that's what is happening. So I'm glad that you shared. And so I want to start with a story, a small story. I think a lot of you might have heard of this story, but let me repeat that anyways. So there was this farmer who used to farm in his village, and one night, accidentally or incidentally, his horse ran away. And the farmers, the neighbors got to know about it, and they came the next morning and like, what a terrible luck it is. So he says, well, maybe, let's see. So a few days went past, and this horse came back to the farmer and brought along with him 3 wild horses. The neighbors got to know about this, and they came to him and like, what an incredible luck do you have? One horse went and 4 came back. And he says, well, let's see. I can't say anything. And then while his son, he thought that we have these 4 horses. One of them is our own, and 3 wild horses. Let's tame one of them. And while in doing so, in that act, he broke his leg. Neighbors got to know, and they came back and said, wow, this is such a bad news. This is bad luck. Purely these horses are bad luck. And he says, well, maybe, let's see. A week later, king's army came, and they were scouting for boys who could be, compelled to go into the army. And they saw farmer's son who had a broken leg, and they rejected him and went on. They grabbed all the other boys from the village. Come on. They grabbed all the boys from the village and left this guy alone. The neighbors got to know, what an incredible luck do you have? Amazing. And he says, well, maybe. What does it teach us? Anyone? What does it teach us?
You need to be at the right place at the right time.
That could be one thing.
And you need to prepare for it.
That is another thing, yes.
Any adverse development may have a silver lining. Maybe it leads to a silver
Right, absolutely. Yes.
You can only connect dots looking backward.
Brilliant stuff. Steve Jobs, yes. Anyone else?
Irrespective of your situation.
Right. Randomness. Okay.
You should be patient to decide the outcome of luck.
Correctly. So if I were to summarize all of what you said, luck is a mindset. What today seems like an unfortunate thing, tomorrow it might seem like a blessing. And this is the theme that I'm going to begin with. How many had already heard this story? The story that I had spoken about the farmer. 1, 2, 3 people. Okay, great. The next story I can guarantee you nobody knows about. So there is this psychologist. His name is Richard Wiseman. So what he did was he did a small, very interesting experiment where he collated a number of people and divided into 2 groups. One who thought they were really lucky, and there was another category of people who thought they weren't that lucky. Things were not falling in place, and they were not getting the right opportunities. Now it so happened, so he gave them an exercise. He gave them, each one of them, a newspaper, and he said, count the number of images or the photos you can find in the newspaper. Now the lucky group, they finished in few seconds, while the people who thought they were unlucky, they took several minutes. Some of them could not even finish. If I may ask, and if you can all please silent your phone.
I am silent, but it's about it.
Okay, that's okay. So, can anybody guess what could be the reason why Lucky Group finished early? Any guesses? Wild guesses? Depressed. Sorry? Positive things? What else?
Their mindset enables them to work even harder.
Okay. Okay. That could be it. Yes. Sorry. More confident.
You were very determined to complete that, irrespective of what happened.
Brilliant.
They had read the newspaper before.
That wasn't the case, but okay.
Manifestation basically.
Manifestation. Okay. No. That wasn't correct, but okay. I like how wild the ideas are going. So the hidden fact is why I said that you don't know about the story is because you don't know the fact behind what happened. So there was this on the second page. There was a big advert which said, "Stop counting. There are 43 photographs in the newspaper." Now what happened was the lucky group was lucky enough to grab that, while the unlucky group was busy counting. Now this is what happens with people who think they are unlucky. Opportunity is right there in front of their eyes, but they are unable to grab it. Right? So the only difference between people who think they are lucky and people who don't think they are lucky is what they are open, like how much open and aware they are in grasping those opportunities. Now, in my coaching business, when I do coaching and when I do therapy work, I often ask, and I'm going to do this experiment with, I'm going to give you an example of this. Imagine if I were to ask you, all of you, how many red cars did you see while coming here? Can you count?
0.
Okay. I will answer that as well. Who said 6? Okay. Did you not see 6.5? Okay. I know. That's why I'm questioning. Okay. So, I'll tell you something. If I were to ask you that tomorrow, count the number of cars that you see while going to your work, and I will give you 100 rupees for every car that you count. You will have an exact number. 1 second. You will have an exact number. Why? There is a system within our brain which is called as RAS, the reticular activating system. Whatever we are thinking, whatever we want, whatever our mindset is, it will, out of the whole reality, which is a lot of reality, a lot of information, it will bring out whatever you are looking for. If we are positive in our life, if our mindset is positive, it will bring up all the reasons why we should be positive. At the same very time, if we are looking that, I'm not lucky, it will bring up all the reasons where you cannot be lucky. Now, let me ask you this thing. How many amongst you are Bollywood fans? Bollywood? Not so much, which is okay. Okay. Amitabh Bachchan specifically? Okay. You might know, because you are fans, that in 1970s he was going through ultimate career crisis when all of his movies were flopping. The directors were rejecting him altogether, and they were calling him different things. You're too tall, your voice is like too husky, and then you're too serious. And you are nowhere compared, your face doesn't look like a hero's face like Sanjeev Kumar, Devanand, or Rajesh Khanna, Rajesh Khanna. So, what did he do? Sorry. Perfect. He worked more on the craft. Kept trying, yes. Discipline.
Akashvani also. He's given some of these speeches or maybe some voice kind of things in Akashvani also.
Okay. He did that while he was waiting, while he was pursuing his career. But the one thing that if I could again sum up all what you're saying, it is the same thing that he kept on. Every opportunity that came along his way, he kept working on it. And I remember very correctly, I saw an interview of him where he was mentioning that while after ABCL had gone bankrupt, he had no work. Now he was an old person elder person who could not be the lead of a movie. So he was getting rejected and no roles were coming up for him. And then one morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, he called up Karan Johar's father. And he said, do you have any role for me? And I'm open to do anything. He says, I have a role, but that's it's not a main lead. It's mohabbatein. In that, I don't think he even asked for money. He said, "I'll do it." He did not know what the role was about, and today we know he's created history. Similar thing happened with Shah Rukh Khan. Lately, I think 5 6 years he had been giving all the flop movies, and then this new movie came up, and he was again back to where he was. So a lot of people go through situations like this, but they again come up. There is a hidden link. Now, it would be unfair if I speak about psychology and I talk nothing about art, because I'm also an artist. So I want to have one example from that field as well. Does anybody know how many artworks did Picasso paint throughout his life? For me, I'll tell you something just to get you the context. Some of the artworks that I make, it takes about month and a half to prepare one, because it's like way too critical. How many did Picasso make? Anybody has?
If that is the equation, then let's assume per year he's creating 10.
Hmm.
Working life is say 40 years, so around 400.
Right. So that would be my case, I would say, considering my lifespan. But in his 78-year career, he made about 1,47,800 pieces. That included artworks, that included a lot of sculptures, and a lot of other things. So what I want to convey to you is he did more, like as in like he banged on more opportunities. He grasped all the possible opportunities. And this is what happens when you have, at least, let's say you have 1,000 doors and you know your solution lies behind one of the doors. How many doors will you knock
So he was basically the content creator of that day.
that day? Yes. So how many doors will you knock before you actually find your solution? Anybody has any idea? How many would you try? Ideal answer, what everybody would have, but they cannot say right now, is like we'll have to try every door. And the more number of, yes, exactly, the more number of doors we knock, the better the chances, the more is the probability of us actually finding a solution. Before I continue, I just got a message. This is quite sudden. I have to let, there is a slot opening for a TEDx talk, that if you want to give a TEDx talk, but I'll have to confirm it to them within 5 minutes. Anybody ready for it? It will be in IIT Delhi. Sorry? Right now in the evening, it's like at 5 o'clock. So in 5 minutes, I have to confirm. Do you have something which is ready that you can give a TEDx talk on?
I don't mind being.
Okay.
Eligibility, I don't know.
Okay,
what
okay,
the
okay.
eligibility.
Who else? TEDx talk. Oh, me. Oh, okay, okay. All right. Anyone else? You? Exactly the point I want to make. It was fabricated, by the way. Luck is where preparation meets up the opportunity. I'm so glad that you took up this thing, because if I would be in your place, there are thousands of thoughts that would come into my mind before it. Am I ready? What kind of a story am I going to do? There are potential, and the reason most of us did not opt for it is because we have this fear that we will not be able to perform well. Now, if I were to ask, and you also, sir, I forgot about you. Bhai Ambani, when he started off with his polyester business and then the trading business, he had, it's not that this market was new, that nobody knew about. It was like everybody had some notion in their mind that it is too tough a market and I cannot get into it, right? But he did not consider that as an obstacle. He went into it and created a history, right? So how do you prepare to be lucky? Is there any way can anybody think of? How do you prepare to be lucky? Please.
I think the important point is to be alert and alive to upcoming opportunities. Luck might find on you, God is luck might find on you at any time. For example, this was a joke. He fabricated the story. But it will be a real example in some other situation. Some opportunity comes up all of a sudden, and we should not display lack of confidence.
Brilliant.
And instead take up the cudgels.
Brilliant.
No harm can come.
Okay. Who else wanted to say? Yes.
So actually there are 4 types of luck. First is your luck by motion, where you assert things and then luck happens to you. One is your preparational, then there is a blind luck, and then last one I would say is the openness of your mind, like you are open to the new ideas and
Wow. Wow. Anyone else wants to say anything? So yes, are you saying anything?
Yeah, I can say that.
Yeah.
So one way to look at luck is that if you know how the structure works, then you know what are the boundaries and where it will fall. So you can kind of do some kind of basic prediction.
So you have basic understanding of the ground,
How the
of the
world
terrain,
works.
and then yes, once you know the system, then you can break the system. You know, right? So what I understand is like there are three ways that you can prepare for being lucky. One would be to, let's say, expand your skill set, expand your learning, because every new subject that you learn, you are opening up a horizon. Not just, and I'll give you some personal example. I read something about psychology. I read something about engineering. Now, these are two discrete subjects. But what comes after this is what I coin. I don't know whether I've coined it or somebody else might have coined it. It's called as accumulative learning. You get to the next dimension of learning, and where you can use the basically the knowledge of these different industries and create something of a thing that no one else can think of if they are reading just individual subjects. The second thing would be to expand your experience. The more number of experiences you have, the more openness you have. And usually, luck resides or hides behind unusual or unfamiliar experiences. The third would be to expand your network. Every new handshake brings with it a new kind of an opportunity that we cannot see otherwise. So, has anybody experienced this that, and I'm not talking about phones listening to us, I'm talking about something else, that you're thinking about somebody and that person calls you? People are waking up to this. Yeah. So, how does that happen? Or maybe you have some decision that you think is right or wrong, and ultimately, I mean, you take that decision and you get to know that whatever you're thinking was right. The decision that you had from your core, from your gut, was the correct one. Anyone experience that? Okay, brilliant. Can anybody explain how that works?
I have a guess, but I don't know.
I'll correct you. Come on.
I think it's something beyond. It is not the normal thing. Probably it's something that we don't understand, but emotionally you can sense it. I don't know how the senses work.
We have a lot of discussion to do today at lunch. I'll tell you the exact science of how it works. Yes, please.
I think there are two parameters. One is there is like conscious inside each one of us.
Brilliant.
Like the voice
Brilliant.
of unconscious. Second is I think it's a lot of practice as well. Like the more you explore yourself, the more you put yourself in situations that you're not meant to be, your gut or your instincts kind of
Gut.
develop over time.
Correct. And you were also saying something?
So I'm not able to identify how I could take that call. This was very recent. I was traveling for the customer visit to Africa, and I had a basic surgery in Lebanon. And just out of a feeling that I took a call that I should not travel this week. And really, like the past 2 weeks has been really like difficult for me. Doctor consultation, different tests. And like the family is calling it out, like you did it wise call, like not traveling this time.
Right.
I'm not like, at that time it was just to say that I was worried like what would happen if this occurs over there. At abroad.
Could have been a
this situation
much
was very
messier
different.
situation.
No doctors, nothing like that.
Right.
That was the only fear that I took this call.
Right.
But I am not sure like whether this fear would be the right one or it is like the different one.
Okay, so my area of exploration or study is what I study is not just the physics of reality that we see, the metaphysics, what goes behind what reality is, and what you need to do. So let's say I'll give you an example. Ratan Tata, in 90s he was having some trouble with the passenger car system. So he could not manage it well. That's what he said. So they thought it was better to sell that segment off. So they went to Ford, and Ratan Tata along with his team went to US to the Ford headquarters, and there he was sort of like insulted that you have no knowledge of how automobiles work, and I don't know why you got into this business. That doesn't make any sense. So what did Ratan Tata do? Humiliated, he came back, but he channeled all his energy into building Tata Motors, what it is today. So the word that I used was energy, and what Ritika mentioned was gut. there's a lot of things that are happening right now around us. So the area that I study is quantum physics and energy psychology, that says that everything around you that you attract is based on what goes on inside your core, right? And the law of resonance says your feelings, your thought process, your belief system attracts the reality that you're seeing today, right? So how do you prepare for that? How do you attract luck? There are three ways that I have thought of. Trust your gut. And I could go on to details, but people would start clapping, so I would not do that. You have to trust your gut because there is an association of your chakra system that goes into it. This is where the truth actually lies. It will tell you exactly because the subconscious mind knows much more than what the conscious mind knows. Then the second point that you need to do is elevate your energy. How do you do that? When few years back, if somebody would have told me write a gratitude journal, many years back actually, I would have said, how does that change my life? But it does. When you have this optimism and when you are, let's say, writing a gratitude journal, something like that, your energy raises from the core, from like the underneath to the above. Let's say you're taking a lift from the ground floor to the 7th floor. The third system is you have to believe in yourself. The more you believe in yourself, you will be able to see opportunities that no one else can see. With that, and considering the time, respecting the time that Sir had mentioned, I would like to close this off, today's speech, with one thing, that there are 4 elements that you need to consider when you talk about being lucky and the science of luck says. One would be your mindset, another would be action, third would be preparation for that, and the fourth one is your energy alignment to it. Thank you so much for giving me the time.